Listen, obviously I've known Ezra for a while, but obviously we're discussing something because obviously he's quite passionate about something and I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah.
And listen, this is about the Ukraine kind of Russia war kind of things. And you know what, I have to say first of all, well done to Ukrainians obviously for being brave and standing up for their rights and standing up for what they believe in. But I just had a feeling that if this kind of thing happened in, obviously where we're from, we're both Nigerians, and imagine this thing happening.
You have Ugandan.
Oh, Ugandan! Oh, jeez! Hey! Sorry, bro, I got that wrong. I got that wrong. I was actually quite confident with
Southeast Africa, where
I actually fully thought it was actually Nigeria, but nah, sorry, people. I got that wrong. He's Ugandan, but we're both Africans anyway. Obviously, it's your boy Mr. CV. I'm back with another special video, but also I have someone very special with me as well. Obviously, just introduce yourself, let us know who you are.
My name is Ezra Brand, and I'm here on the...
Well done, man. Don't be scared.
My name is Ezra Brand, and welcome to the show.
Welcome to Diary of Mr. CV. Hey. Anyways, listen, me and him, we had a little discussion and I thought, you know what, he had to come and explain himself on the camera. But obviously, he's got a different view to myself, but that's not a problem at all. Obviously, we're here to get different people's opinion. And the view was on, obviously, this Russia versus Ukraine. And obviously, as a channel, I try not to talk about things too political because obviously, I'm not a politician. I try to move away from it. But we just had something that was a bit different. First of all, I have to say what's happening in Ukraine. Obviously, big up to the Ukrainian people for standing up for their rights and showing bravery. And I was kind of thinking like, if that kind of thing happened in Africa, I was thinking, would people, when I say Africa, I'm going to use Africa because obviously that's where I'm African myself. And also I'm Nigerian as well. And I'm trying to think, if that kind of war kind of started in Nigeria, how many Africans or Nigerians would be able to literally stand and defend for their rights? I would say as Nigerians or African, I believe we're more selfish and we think about ourselves rather than selfless. And I don't know many patriotic Nigerians that will be ready to truly fight for their rights and stuff. But obviously he disagrees and that's not a problem. So obviously he's going to say the reasons why he disagrees. So go on.
So basically, it's very admirable. My heart does go out to the people of Ukraine. Where they're fighting against over there, for their country, to be invaded by the Russians. Of course, Russia's got their own political interests why they are invading. So I'm not going to go into that. But what I will go into is that the Ukrainians were given weapons, armed by NATO, state of the art, weapons to defend themselves. So, they had if you gave me the best weapons, I can get my hands on, perhaps I could back my country, Uganda. You could send me on that flight over there, and then
this is not what I was saying before.
You give me one.
This is not what I was
saying. Give me an RPG.
No wonder we wanted to start again.
Give me an RPG and a flamethrower. Yeah.
Nah, you know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go back to the...
I'm telling you, you'll be like GTA up in here.
I've got the recording of what he was saying before. This is different. This is different. I'm gonna play it back. You that you're living here in the UK, if there was a fight in Uganda, there was a war like this in Uganda and Ukraine, would you leave the UK to go back to Uganda to go and fight? Be honest.
No, that won't be the case. I wouldn't want to risk my life.
Okay, so this is starting to prove my point.
Well, let's get in the meat and potatoes of this, right? But Uganda has been invaded. Once upon a time, Uganda was invaded by the Tanzanians, and this was overthrowing Idi Amin at the time. Most of you have heard of Idi Amin. He was a notorious dictator in Uganda. Known for committing human atrocities anyway. But at the time when Uganda was invaded by foreign forces, the people of Uganda were not armed, to the teeth, with state-of-the-art weapons. Said, hey, here's the weapons. These people coming over here. We're trying to take over your nation. You've got the right to defend yourself. That was never the case. People were just fair game when the invaders came. the top of the government. You know, there was no assistance at all, so it's just casualties everywhere. But in this Ukraine-Russia situation, the President Zelensky, he himself said that males from 18 to 60 were not allowed to leave the country. They had to stay and fight, and weapons were given out. And not only that, that whole government administration of the President Zelensky of Ukraine was made of the eyes of neo-Nazis, paramilitary groups. They pretty much, you know, are the heart of the Ukrainian army. So you got these guys who are just ultra nationalists who want, you know, who are ready to die and fight for the causes of their country. Yes, we've seen the likes of the celebrity boxers, you know, the Klitschko's, the two brothers, who were very much involved in Ukrainian politics. I think one of them was running for office at one point. Held a high position there. They were talking about they had engaged in gunfight and killed 6 Russian soldiers. This is on BBC on camera, yeah. So you had Vasily Lomachenko also over there, the boxer, very good boxer. You know, he left his life of luxury and, you know, picked up the gun, you know, fighting for his country. Very admirable, of course. Then you had Usyk, heavyweight world champion, who beat the British. Former British boxing champion Anthony Joshua Usyk, Alexander Usyk, also picked up arms. Told his wife, his girlfriend or wife, hey, he's gonna, you know, fight for the country. And also the tennis star, his name slipped my mind. But yeah, so you got all these guys, you know, they came out, yeah, we're fighting it. You know that, you know, was very patriotic, and you know And you ask yourself, would any of our superstars, where we come, would they pick up arms? 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 Nah. But I would say there's other in this war over here.
Okay. Before you go on, let me ask you a serious question, and I want you to be honest.
Yeah.
I want you to be truthful.
Yeah.
If, like you said, these Ukrainians, they had weapons from NATO, high-skilled weapons, give them a choice. He's trying to tell me that if a war happened in Africa, that he will go and fight. You believe this guy?
If war happens in Africa,
if it happened in Africa, in this country, that it will go and it will be like the Ukrainians to go and.
Yeah.
So he's lying, man. He's
where are you from? Which part of
Uganda.
He's a liar.
I don't know, brave.
He's a liar, man. Don't believe this guy.
If I've got the high-grade weapon,
don't believe this guy. He's a liar. He's like scared of a fly. He can come and go fight in. He's a liar. He's a liar.
I'll go and fight.
I don't believe it.
Did you know Ukraine is listed as one of the most corrupt countries in the world?
The ex-president was found corrupt. That's why he moved to Russia. That's why he's telling them that they should stop the war. But if you look at their country, for people to go there to go and study, no worries, man. That's the real question I wanted to ask you, because all these let's put meat and potatoes together, or whichever phrase you was using.
Yeah.
The real question I want to ask you is, as you claim that all these NATO, they have high-skilled weapons, Ukrainians, if they gave you those kind of weapons, if they gave you those kind of weapons,
yes,
as a Uganda, you're living in this country and there's a war that broke up in Kampala, and they're trying to go to Kampala, your capital, to Uganda.
Yeah.
You will be ready to take up arms to go leave this place to go back to Uganda to go and fight.
First of all,
no. I don't want to hear. First of all, is a simple. Would you would leave this place where you are, where you've got comfort, to go back to Uganda and fly into Uganda to go and fight?
I wouldn't fight for the current Ugandan governing administration. I wouldn't fight for them, no.
Yeah, but you're not fighting for them. You're fighting for your country. You're fighting for your land, for what you believe in. Would you leave everything you have here, be like those tennis players? Be like Vladimir Klitschko. These are people. I don't think people understand. These are millionaires that they don't have to.
Yeah.
The level of patriotism that these people have shown, the level of bravery.
Yeah.
I personally, I don't know. I know a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I know a lot of Nigerians, and I'm telling you now I can tell you now. I can tell you now. Even myself, I question myself whether I'm able to go even to go and do that. I question myself. Not to talk about other people, our musicians, our celebrities. I don't even think some of them will be ready to go and do that. I'll be honest with you. Come and challenge me.
Would you call Davido?
No, Davido.
So Davido will
no, it's not even Davido or anybody, but I don't even think they'll be able to. Forget about Davido. I'm talking about celebrities in general. Leave whatever you're doing. Some of them have houses in America. They're gone.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I have to go back to your comment about the president, where you said that he's living in a bunker. Listen, wherever he is, the fact that he didn't run away, he stood, because America gave him a flight to move out of Ukraine, and he said no. And the fact is, if you're a leader, the minute that you say, because even forget about the weapons that they've given them, the fact that their leader said he's staying, he's not leaving. That's already motivation.
But how do we know where he is? How do we know he's not?
Well, he's
still recording his video somewhere.
No, he's not. He's in, and he actually showed in the video that he's in Kiev.
Well, how do you know that they're not old videos?
No,
it's
come on, man.
It's a possibility.
Come on, man. Let's be. That the fact that he made a video and he actually showed that he's in Kiev at the moment.
So at the moment, what's going on is a war propaganda that is happening at the moment. So there's a lot of information and there's misinformation. Remember, first of all, we heard about this fighter jet, this Ukrainian fighter jet that was shooting down all these Russian, tanks and airplane from jets from the air, and that wasn't the case. It turned out to be that it was a Call of Duty screenshot.
But going back to this year, for me, I think with this Ukrainian war, what I'm trying to get is that the sense of unity shown by the Ukrainian people. I think that kind of unity, I think personally, from coming from Nigeria, I think we kind of like that kind of unity. Because number one, we have a country of 208 million people with so many languages. If one certain tribe become president of Nigeria, the other tribes are getting angry. I'm not sure about Uganda, it might be the same with Uganda as well. So for me, it shouldn't be about what tribe you're in, it should be about choosing the best person for presidency, choosing the best person. So if you can't even agree on those kind of things, imagine if a war now comes up. You really think people will be that united to go and fight the war or even take up arms?
I think the most important thing here is what people are willing to fight and die for. If they're fighting for tangible things.
Yeah, but you just said that you won't fight for this current.
Government, no, because administration that is in place in Uganda at the moment, I wouldn't fight for it because they're mistreating people. They're not looking after people. They're not doing anything for the people. So, if it were the case that Uganda was being invaded by a so-called cruel lord or cruel dictator from the next door neighbor, the people were told to pick up arms and fight. I doubt they would want to fight for that. You currently can.
But this is not about the government.
But if Uganda is like this hypothetically speak, like Uganda was, everything was in place. The resources were were given to people, and people living well, to great standards, and the government was really looking after the people. I'm sure people, if they had that kind of scenario that's happening in Ukraine right now, people will be happy to pick up their arms and defend the country. I believe so. And people have got, they've got something to fight for, and it makes sense and it's reasonable. They're willing to put the lives.
No, to be honest with you, that's the only part I agree with you.
Yeah.
In the sense that.
But that's not the. But when you bring this argument to the table, you got to look at the pros and cons. What, like in Nigeria, for example, you don't believe the Nigerians would. I'm like, but what is how is the government treating the people over there? I don't know. I don't.
No. But like I said, that's the only part that I agree with you, because I've seen videos, which obviously I'm going to share with you, of Nigerians actually saying they'd rather go to Ukraine
and die
there than die in Nigeria. And these are Nigerians themselves.
We are angry. So we want to leave this nation, because some of all these men, their children are nowhere to. Their children are not in this country. They are abroad studying. I have volunteered myself. I want to leave this country. I want to go and fight for Ukrainians.
It's better for someone to even die there than to die in this country.
Yes.
My brother, is it anything special in this country? Traveling from here to Ukraine and assist them in fighting, I believe is the best thing. Is the best thing that Nigeria
you'll
you understand? And you'll be guaranteed. Even if you die there, I'm sure that your family will not suffer here in Nigeria.
Yeah. These are people that are not patriotic about Nigeria, and obviously that means as a system there's a massive problem.
Maybe they just, people are angry, frustrated with the government of Nigeria, and they would use any opportunity to, throw a shade at the Nigerian
No, it's not even about throwing the shade.
The country.
No, it's not even about throwing the shade. It's that you're right in the sense that the country hasn't provided necessary necessities, basic necessities, like food, water, schools, clean education, everything. Obviously, Ukraine is not the richest country in the world, but for people to be going there, to go and be studying and living there, it means they're doing okay. So they got some things in place. Maybe it's a time for our country, or as African countries or African leaders, to actually look at our countries and try and see how can we make it a better place so that people can be more, people will have more reasons to fight for. Because like you said, you might want to fight the war, but then you look at it and think, wow, this government, this Uganda government, you have trust them enough, like, because even if you win the war, it's that same people that are going to be in charge of the government, and you're just going to keep going around and decide, is it worth? So maybe people need reasons to be worth fighting, and to be honest, we're not encouraging people to take up arms or to fight. We're just trying to open a discussion, because personally, I'm not saying that Nigerians wouldn't take up arms, but I don't think we have enough patriotic Nigerians. Even you yourself.
Yeah, I mean, like, war is ugly business. People dying, and this is not like the olden days where there will be swords, shields, and arrows, and you'd meet in the field somewhere, and fight out the battle, and in the winner, Hammer gets the spoils of war, and that's it. You'd be an army was removed, a king was replaced, and that's it. And then there's a new change of government takes place. But we live in modern times where there's rocket launchers, you've got all kinds of state-of-the-art weapons, even nuclear, bombs, bullets. This is no game. You go out there. I'm sure you played paintball before. You see, like you can't even make it out of a paintball shooter, let alone bullets that are moving faster than faster than anything. So and I'm like, no. In the olden wars with the swords, I'll be like Achilles, take me to the battlefront.
No.
Take me to Troy. I get my shoe and I just.
Obviously, war is a tough thing, man, because obviously hopefully none of us ever experience it, because it's a difficult situation. But like I said, the bravery and the unity by the Ukrainians, like for you to leave, like some of these, I don't think some of the people are actually taking account that some of these people that are going back there, they're leaving everything that they have that are going well for them.
And also, whatever the media is reporting, it's not necessarily all true. Maybe you remember people were told not to leave. Males from 18 to 6 were told, you cannot leave because we need you. You have to take part in this fight. You see, that alone tells me that we don't have a choice but to participate in this war. Yes, you've got these celebrities, boxers come up, and that's all part of their whole propaganda machine. And to win souls,
of course,
between the hearts and the minds of the people.
To be honest with you, they kind of have no choice at all, because if you look at the numbers in terms of Russia versus Ukraine, like
Russia's, the Ukrainians are putting up a fight, but eventually they're going to lose.
No, we know that, but that's what I'm saying, that in terms of the law they put in place, they kind of have no choice because they're outnumbered anyway. Like the Russian people just have the numbers of people that they have.
Zelensky is putting his people at risk.
But I don't know what he's meant to do.
Do you think surrendering would have been a great idea?
No. I think what needs to happen is obviously there needs to be kind of a ceasefire, kind of. But this is a case of number one is your pride as well, because this is where you live. Imagine someone come to your house and say, nah, get out of your house, they want to move in.
Yeah.
You're gonna think like, nah, this is, and the thing about it as well is, obviously I've been to some of these Eastern European countries. They're not like countries like these. Like for example, in the UK now, if a war was to start in the UK, it might be quite difficult. Because you know why? Because there's so many multinational people. So all the multinational people, what are they gonna do? They'll carry their passports and go back to their first country. You understand? So it might be big, but in countries like Eastern Europe, they have mostly their people living there. So they're very patriotic in that aspect. So it can be, it's difficult for them. But obviously, back to this topic here, I will be honest with you. Maybe they're more, because for me, I even watch some of the Nigerian football players that are born here, that go back to that. Some of them don't even know they don't even know the national anthem. And you trust these people to go and, nah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm sorry man. I might be wrong, but I'm sorry. If I'm wrong, fair enough. Maybe there are more patriotic Nigerians than I think. But I'll be honest with you, even just a little water pistol, everyone's gone. So I don't know, because war is not a joke. War is not a, when you're hearing bombs and all these things, you'll be honest with you, even if you're motivated, once you hear those, I'll be honest with you, you start thinking differently.
Those torpedoes.
You start thinking differently, you know. So the fact is, obviously forget the martial law that is there, but the fact is, people are ready to go all the way back, leave their livelihood to go and fight for their country. Like, for me, that is next level patriotism. That's next level bravery. You understand what I'm saying? Because you can say that those people that they put those laws in, they have no choice. But what about those people that are leaving where they are? Those people that are leaving places like UK and stuff. Those Ukrainians are going back to Ukraine. Don't they have a choice?
I haven't seen all these Ukrainians that they're saying they're coming from abroad back into Ukraine to fight for the country. I haven't seen them. I just seen a few volunteers here and here on social media. So remember, this is, I believe, this is also a propaganda push. You know, NATO has created this situation over there. You know, NATO had promised Ukraine that they were going to join NATO, so that to be part of them. You know, NATO's got like big countries in it, and Russia is one of the reasons why I thought, NATO, you guys are encroaching on our territory. This can't happen. We're going to have to, NATO can't be coming up in there and putting their military bases and missiles in our backyard. That can't happen.
Of course.
Yeah, and also. And then that NATO, promised Zelensky they were gonna back him to do.
No. Let me clarify. Hold up.
But then none of that happened.
Let me clarify.
They're just sending weapons back.
No. Let me clarify. Let me clarify this, because I think you might have got it incorrect.
Yeah.
What's happened was, the Soviet Union was a massive place. Russia. Ukraine was there, Poland, and obviously after the break of the Soviet Union, some countries decided to have their own independence. Ukraine being one of them. So what that happened was, some of these countries that had independence, such as Poland, they joined NATO for democracy, and then also Ukraine also wants to join NATO, but Russia is saying that they can't join NATO and they're stopping them. So NATO can't physically take part in the war because Ukraine hasn't joined them yet, hasn't become a member. That's where the problem is. So NATO, because if NATO joins in now, it's World War III now. It's a big problem.
It'll be World War
so
III.
that's why
But
NATO
I
can't.
think with all these heavy sanctions that Russia's getting, and NATO supplying all these weapons to the Ukrainians, that's an act of war in itself.
And they're not physically involved.
I know, but when Japan attacked America because of the sanctions America put on them.
Well, anyways, we don't want to get into those technicalities. Obviously, the main focus is obviously, if a war like this happened in Uganda, you're living here, would you be happy to go back to Uganda? to go and take up arms to fight in Uganda.
For this current.
No, forget about the current government.
Personally,
I'm saying to fight for the country.
I would, you know, I've got mixed feelings on this.
Well, that explains my point.
Yeah, I've got mixed feelings on this. You know, I'm looking at the pros and cons. You know what I mean? And you know, the idea of modern warfare and how you can easily lose your life swiftly. I'm not going to participate.
But that makes my point, because clearly you went on this. That makes my point. So that means you're not ready to fight for your country. The level of bravery that these Ukrainians are showing, you're not ready to do that.
Many of them have run off as well.
No, I'm not saying that. Of course they're going to be.
We're being fed that narrative.
No, of course there's going to be many that have run off.
Yeah.
Of course there's going to be many.
And a lot of them are hiding in civilian.
Of course there's going to be many that have run off. That's fine.
But
I'm saying is that if a situation like this happened in Uganda, would you be able to? Because right now, it sounds like right now you wouldn't be able to do that, and that's not a problem.
I'm going to be honest.
No, and that's where honesty.
Would you?
No, and that's where
go pick up?
No, and that's where honesty comes in. Let me frame it. That's where honesty comes in, because we've got to be honest with each other. Because at the end of the day, it's easier to say and talk and say yeah I would, but when it comes down to it, a lot of people wouldn't. A lot of people wouldn't. Would I do it? I personally, it's a very tough decision. It's a very, very tough decision. But I'm a person where if I believe in something, hold up.
Let's just say,
let me finish.
If our countries were, let's just say, developed, let's just say, to the UK standard infrastructure, you know, and the whole aspect, and we happen to live there, and that was happening, and we were being invaded, would you pick up arms then?
No, that's what I'm saying. I was gonna get to that. Yeah. I'm a person where if I believe in something, yes, I will be able to. I will fight for what I believe in. Yeah. If a situation was like this, where in Africa, where yes, we had all these things, it was developed to a state, and obviously things like this happened, and I really believe that no, there's injustice there. Yeah, 100%. And I'm a person, I will stick to what I believe in. Yeah. But like you said, maybe it does go back to our government. In the sense that if those basic necessities are not provided, then people feel like, what's the point?
What am I fighting for?
What am I fighting for?
Risks ain't worth the reward.
Because the video I was shared, there were people that were saying that they were ready to die in Ukraine. Yeah. Rather than dying in your own country that you was born in. And that's a big problem. That's a big shame. It's a massive shame.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It's a massive shame. And some of the reasons they gave was to just, even people that were trying to evacuate from Ukraine, where they moved to like countries like Poland, they were even saying that when the war is over, they want to go back to Ukraine.
There was a big rush of people who wanted to get on those planes and evacuate out. Were you ever supposed to be on those planes? Did you want to go? What is your plan?
I am not going to be part of it. I never actually thought of going with them. So my plan is to stay here in Poland or move to another country, because I want to go back to Ukraine.
That's a big problem, because normally as humans we want to be in a safe place. Yeah. So it just shows that there's still a lot of problems and there's still a lot of ways we need to go. And after watching this video, we're not encouraging anybody to go and take up arms. This is, like I said, this is an open discussion. Because obviously he believes that they are. Maybe after this video, maybe there are more patriotic Africans or Nigerians than I believe. I've been enough Nigerians to know that even some of them, that just a little water pistol, take on. So,
but until Nigeria is put to the test, we'll never know.
But you can say that about any country, though.
I know.
For me, I feel if you've been around enough of your people, you should be able to know that yes, they are. You understand? The way they carry the country, the way they uphold it. You understand? You would know that yes, if there was something, yes. Because if you're with a group of friends, you will know already that, oh cool, if there's a fight that happened now, I know already who's going to, you know what I mean? Yeah. So obviously we should be having that sense of feeling, but it's a case where I'm feeling that is there enough patriotic Nigerians, or is there enough patriotic Africans? Like you said, the answer will probably never be no. In the sense that unless there's a war that breaks out, then yeah.
When we get to love the root of the tree, I guess we'll be able to fight for anything. When we get to love the root of the tree, I guess we'll be able to fight.
What's the root of the tree?
We love ourselves, we love our motherland.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe that's it. Who knows? There's so much dynamics that come into this whole discussion.
But anyways, it's your boy Mr. CV.
And Ezra Brand. To be continued.
Anyways, it's your boy Mr. CV. And your boy
Ezra Brand.
And listen, it's been wonderful. The video is just a discussion to be able to obviously see things differently. Obviously, it is very unfortunate that something like a war is going on, and it's not just in Ukraine. Obviously, there's so many other countries as well that wars have been going on. That obviously the media hasn't put enough coverage on it, and it must be difficult, it must be tricky. And we're very lucky that obviously we live in a country where we don't have to face those kind of things, and even if you had to face them, it would be very hard as well. Some of us, it would be very tricky. And even if you do believe that, look, like him, he's a bit honest and say, look, if something like this happened, I wouldn't fight. That's absolutely fine, because nobody should be held to the point where you feel like you have to do something. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I just believe for us, or to hear Nigerians, which obviously I've shown through the video, to hear Nigerians to say, you know what, they'd rather go and die in Ukraine than die in their homeland. That's very sad. That is very, very sad. And it's sad not just on the government, but it's sad on us as a country. So anyways, I don't want to take what much time. It's been lovely, it's been good, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much, man, and stay safe.
Please tune in and subscribe at the link below.
And then obviously, please tune in.
100 subscribers.
Please tune into the videos and obviously subscribe and keep supporting your boy Mr. CV.